Welcome back. False claims of fraud in the 2020 election continue with former President Donald Trump, the now presumptive Republican nominee.
And now a new insider's look at the extent the Trump campaign went to find fraud in states like Wisconsin. The efforts included hiring the expert Ken Block, a software engineer and president of Simpatico Software Systems. He's out with a new book, Disproven, detailing how he says he shot down claim after claim, eventually telling the Trump campaign the election was not stolen. Ken joins us now from Washington. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
We're going to talk about your work in Wisconsin and what you write about Wisconsin. First, I want you to bring me back to the beginning. You signed this contract just days after the election in 2020. How did the campaign find you, and what did they want you to do?
Yeah, the lawyer I reported to, Alex Cannon, he called me on my cell phone. I hadn't reached out to anybody. I hadn't offered my services to anybody. To this day, I don't know why he chose me and why he reached out to me. And I didn't really have time to talk to him about it too much because we spent a very intense 35 days looking at claims of voter fraud that came in from all over the country.
Well, let's talk about what you write about Wisconsin. You write that you were asked to look into a claim that 740,000 Wisconsin voters voted twice. Who gave you that directive?
So that claim and the way it came to my desk is really instructive about everything that was going on in the country at that point in time when it came to voter fraud. So a group of individuals in Wisconsin did their own analysis of voting data, and they came to an extremely erroneous result. And that result was a determination that more than 700,000 voters in Wisconsin had voted twice. This group was convinced that they were correct. They posted their findings on a website called thedonald.win, and they wanted to bring the Department of Justice in to begin hauling busloads of people out in handcuffs, I guess, for committing voting violations. They got the findings to a friend who played golf. The golfer brought the claims to the manager of a Trump golf course. The manager of the Trump golf course gave the claims to Eric Trump, who gave the claims to Alex Cannon, the lawyer I reported to, and then it landed on my desk where in about an hour, I determined that they had made a mistake in that they didn't realize they didn't have in-person votes, which amounted to about 700,000 votes. And so the whole thing was quickly explained away, but not before it's caused quite a stir within not only Wisconsin and on the website, thedonald.win, but even in the Oval Office.
Ken, at one point you write, quote, "I knew the campaign was hugely invested in my being able to find fraud sufficient to credibly challenge an election result. It was an uphill fight from the very beginning." I'm curious now, as you look back and as you wrote this book, do you feel you were helping fuel the president's false claims of fraud and have led to where we are today?
I didn't provide a shred of hope in terms of an explanation of voter fraud could explain the outcome in any of the swing states that we looked at. It's so important to reiterate of probably close to 20 different claims of voter fraud, at least, that were brought to my attention that other people had made. Every single one of them was wrong. And in my search for deceased voters, for people who voted twice, once in one of the swing states and once in another state, I found across all of the swing states a total of less than 300 fraudulent votes across all of them, not nearly enough to have impacted one of the swing states, let alone all of them.
It is a fascinating read. The new book is Disproven. The author, Ken Block. Ken, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, bringing Hollywood to Wisconsin.